Lafrance here, Stream of Consciousness series. We are getting down to the end here. We are closing in on 3 hours of continuous filming. The topic is your teenager frozen? And if you would like to understand the very premise of what I'm doing, then I invite you to please watch the video that introduces this whole long run. I am tired, but I am loving it. Let's keep on going. This topic, 5 minutes set. Is your teenager frozen? Okay, so I don't think if you are a parent, this is important for parents to hear and for teenagers to hear. I think the very title will hopefully draw both in to listen to this rant. The great misunderstanding of why the vast majority, in my opinion, as a potential crazy person, why teenagers are frozen, why they are failing to launch, why they don't seem to care about their future. I believe that the only real way to get a really good handle on it as grown-ups, because remember, we're supposed to be the grown-ups, is to understand that teenagers, if we dare to remember how we were when we were teenagers, when you're a teenager, your bullshit meter, your hypocrisy meter, is at its highest it will ever be in your life. Remember? You can smell bullshit from a mile away. And when we enter into the world of adulthood, it kind of ends up fading away because you realize most people are full of it because of the masks we wear in the business world and the whole deal. And you just kind of lose sight of that, and you have a higher tolerance for, people just not being real. You feel like most people around you are made of plastic anyway, so it just becomes part of life. But when you're a teenager, you're seeing the bullshit. Now, understand that it is completely and totally a part of our culture that when you are a teenager and you enter into this particular stage of life, this is when you're supposed to figure out what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life. So as a hormonal teenager with a face full of acne and wanting to, if you're a guy, you probably want to have sex with everything that moves. And I won't even talk about what my daughters feel, because I don't want to talk about sex and my daughters in the same sentence. But you are absolutely just unstable in every way. The hormones have got you all over the place, and this is when you're supposed to choose, according to the world, what you're going to do forever and ever, amen, because it's at that point where you're supposed to get the grades you need in high school to be able to go to the university or the college of your choice, which of course you'll be accepted with honors as long as you do things correctly. And as soon as you're done that, there'll be a person waiting there looking like Will Smith and Men in Black with a long trench coat and dark sunglasses, leading you off to the great job that you've been waiting for, at which point you'll make a lot of money, and you'll meet your husband or your wife there, have 1.5 children, buy your first house, fill it with stuff, buy your second house, fill it with stuff, and get a dog, and then live happily ever after. And for some reason, when I was a teenager, I was looking at this model of life, and I'd be looking up at the guidance counselor, the teacher, or the Tibetan monk, or whoever was telling me this, and I'd be like, well, if that's the case, then why are you people all so miserable? This is my point. Most of the adults I know, I have lived through this. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we're waking up driven by fear, stress, anxiety, paying the bills, living at the end of our means, all this shit. And we're looking at the young people who are looking back at us, and we're unaware because we think this is normal. This is what life is supposed to be. But meanwhile, we don't realize that the message we're actually sending into our kids is, come to the dark side. You must decide now what you will do and join us in our world of fear, stress, and anxiety. Come, you must decide. Why won't they decide? Gwendolyn, why won't they decide? What's wrong with Bobby? What's wrong with Georgina? And meanwhile, they're looking at us and going, why the hell would I want to join your world? What I'd rather be doing is playing video games because I'm fucking terrified. This is the actual reality of why most teenagers are frozen. They are so terrified of failing. Not only do they have, and again, I must put a disclaimer in, I'm not speaking about all teenagers unilaterally. I am speaking about a general broad stroke that I believe relates. I could be dead wrong, but this is what I feel. I think that the vast majority of the teenagers are frozen because they're looking at their parents, whether that's if they have both parents together, or whether it's a broken home, they're being called to join into this adult life, and they're just going, I just don't see the adventure or the joy, any pleasure in it whatsoever in your eyes. So why would I want to join that world? Food for thought. Maybe we need to change ourselves and maybe get a perspective on the way that we have lived in fear. Because do we really want our sons and daughters to, let's be honest in the mirror, be as stressed out and as unhappy as the vast majority of us are? Food for thought. Moving on. Our next topic is, this is a good one to follow up on that. George Lucas and Millennium Falcons. In our next video.